Your cat walks up to you, tilts their head slightly, and presses the side of their face against your leg. Then they do it again, harder this time, dragging their cheek and jaw across your shin. You probably think this is affection. Maybe you've read somewhere that it's marking territory. Both of these are real. Neither is what's actually happening. What's happening is a form of chemical communication so sophisticated that scientists are still mapping its complexity. And the message being sent has almost nothing to do with you. Number 1. The invisible scent factory. When your cat rubs their face on you, they're depositing secretions from glands you cannot see and scent molecules you cannot smell. In 2018, researchers at the University of Lincoln identified 5 distinct types of scent glands concentrated around the feline face. Along the temples, at the corners of the mouth, under the chin, on the cheeks, and around the whisker pads. Each gland type produces a different chemical signature. A 2015 study published in the Journal of Chemical Ecology analyzed these secretions and found they contain at least 40 distinct volatile compounds, including fatty acids, triglycerides, and cholesterol esters. The mix varies not just between individual cats, but within the same cat depending on stress level, reproductive status, and even time of day. When your cat rubs against you, they're not leaving one simple scent. They're layering a chemical profile as unique and complex as a fingerprint. Number 2. Territory means something different than you think. Most explanations stop at marking territory, but that phrase obscures what's actually being communicated. Research by Dr. John Bradshaw at the University of Bristol, published in 2013, demonstrated that facial marking in cats functions differently from urine marking or scratching. Facial pheromones signal familiar and safe, not mine, stay away. In a study of 62 cats in multi-cat households, researchers found that cats preferentially rubbed objects and people associated with low-stress environments. The behavior increased after positive interactions and decreased after negative ones. What your cat is doing when they rub you is not claiming ownership. They're updating a shared chemical map of safety. They're telling other cats and reminding themselves that you are part of the safe zone. The territory being marked is emotional, not physical. Number 3. The allo-rubbing exception. There's a specific variation that changes everything. When cats rub their faces on each other, a behavior called allo-rubbing, the function shifts. A 2009 study by researchers at the University of Veterinary Medicine Vienna tracked facial rubbing between 14 bonded cat pairs over 6 months. They found that allo-rubbing occurred almost exclusively between cats who spent more than 80% of their time within 2 meters of each other. But here's what matters. The cat who initiated the rub wasn't marking the other cat. They were mixing scents. Chemical analysis showed that after allo-rubbing, both cats carried a blended scent profile. When your cat rubs their face on you and then immediately rubs against your partner or another cat in the household, they're not marking each of you separately. They're creating a group scent. They're building a chemical indicator that says, these beings belong to the same safe unit. You're not being claimed. You're being included. Number 4. What happens when the scent fades? The pheromones your cat deposits don't last forever. Research published in Applied Animal Behavior Science in 2017 found that facial pheromone markers degrade within 24 to 72 hours, depending on environmental conditions. Heat, humidity, and air circulation all accelerate breakdown. This explains a behavior that confuses many cat owners. Why cats seem compelled to remark the same spots, the same people, the same furniture repeatedly. They're not being obsessive. They're maintaining a chemical map that deteriorates constantly. In multi-cat households studied at Ohio State University's College of Veterinary Medicine, researchers observed that when artificial pheromones identical to facial secretions were applied to objects, cats reduced stress-related behaviors by 37%. When those pheromones were removed, stress behaviors returned within 4 days. The scent isn't decorative. It's functional infrastructure. When your cat rubs you every morning, they're not greeting you. They're restoring a chemical environment they need to feel secure. Number 5. The cheek press hierarchy. Not all face rubs are equal. Researchers at the University of Pisa conducted a frame-by-frame analysis of 189 facial rubbing events and identified a consistent progression. Cats begin with the temporal glands near the temples, move to the perioral glands at the mouth corners, then finish with the submandibular glands under the chin. But the sequence reverses based on the cat's confidence level. In unfamiliar environments or with unfamiliar people, cats start with chin rubs, the least vulnerable position. They only progress to full cheek and temple rubs once they've confirmed safety. If your cat immediately leads with their temple against your hand, that's not casual. That's maximum trust. The temple glands are positioned near the eyes and ears, areas cats instinctively protect. A cat who presses their temple to you is performing the chemical equivalent of saying, "I trust you near my most vulnerable sensory organs." The pressure matters too. A 2014 study using pressure sensors found that cats exert significantly more force when rubbing familiar people compared to furniture or unfamiliar humans. Harder rubs deposit more pheromones. The force is the message. Number 6. When rubbing increases or stops, pay attention to changes in frequency. Research from the University of Edinburgh's Veterinary School tracked facial rubbing in 51 cats before and after household disruptions like moving, new pets, or renovation. Rubbing behavior increased by an average of 140% in the first 2 weeks after disruption, then gradually declined to baseline over 6 to 8 weeks. The cats weren't stressed and therefore rubbing less. They were stressed and therefore rubbing more, trying to rebuild the familiar scent environment faster than it could degrade. Conversely, when a cat who normally rubs frequently suddenly stops, that's a documented early indicator of illness. A 2016 clinical study found that cats with oral pain, upper respiratory infections, or fever reduced facial rubbing by 60% or more before showing other obvious symptoms. The glands themselves are connected to blood supply and mucous membranes. If rubbing hurts or if the cat's chemical regulation is disrupted by illness, the behavior drops off. A cat who stops marking you isn't necessarily distant. They might be in pain. The next time your cat presses their face against your leg, here's what's actually happening. They're depositing a chemical signature from at least 3 separate gland types, each contributing different molecular compounds to a scent profile you will never smell, but that creates a map of safety for them and every other cat in your home. They're updating a signal that will degrade within days and must be constantly renewed. They're choosing the angle and pressure based on how safe they feel with you in that specific moment. If they're pressing hard with their temples, they're signaling maximum trust. If they immediately move to rub another family member or pet, they're mixing scents to reinforce group cohesion. If they're rubbing more than usual, they might be responding to environmental stress you haven't noticed yet. And if they've stopped rubbing entirely, something is wrong. This isn't affection in the way we usually mean it. It's something more practical and more profound. It's your cat maintaining the chemical infrastructure of their safe world, and they've decided you're a load-bearing wall. If you found this useful, subscribe for more research-backed explanations of what your cat is really telling you. And comment below. Does your cat have a specific spot they always rub, or a specific time of day when they do it most? The patterns matter more than you think.